Hello, how are you today? Are you feeling good? I hope so. Look who's come to join us today. It's Bernard again. I think Bernard's come because the story we've got today is about a cat and it looks like him. Look, it's called Mog, the Forgetful Cat by Judith Kerr. She's the author, she wrote it, and the illustrator. She did the pictures too. Look, he does look alike, doesn't he? Right, Bernard, you need to sit still. Are you ready? Mog, the Forgetful Cat. I love this story. Once there was a cat called Mog, and she lived with a family called Thomas. That was their surname. Mog was nice, but not very clever. She didn't understand a lot of things, and a lot of other things she forgot. She was a very forgetful cat. Sometimes she ate her supper and then she forgot that she'd eaten it. Sometimes she thought of something in the middle of washing her leg and then she forgot to wash the rest of it. Once she forgot that cats don't fly. But most of all, she forgot her cat flap. The cat flap led from the kitchen into the garden. Mog could go out and in again. It was her own little door. The garden always made Mog very excited. She smelled all the smells. She chased the birds. She climbed the trees. She ran round and round with a big fluffed up tail. And then she forgot the cat flap. She forgot that she had a cat flap. She wanted to go back into the house, but she couldn't remember how. Dear, poor Mog. In the end, she sat outside the kitchen window and meowed until someone let her in. Afterwards, you could always tell where she had sat. Oh dear, look, she squished the flowers. This made Mr. Thomas very sad. He said, "Bother that cat." But Debbie said, "She's nice." Once, Mog had a very bad day. Even the start of the day was bad. Mog was still asleep. Then Nicky picked her up. He hugged her and said, "Nice kitty." Mog said nothing, but she was not happy. I don't think cats like being picked up always, do they? Then it was breakfast time. Mog forgot that cats have milk for breakfast. She forgot that cats only have eggs as a treat. She ate an egg. Uh-oh, it wasn't her egg though. Look, it's Nicky's egg. Bernard crashing around. Mrs. Thomas said, "Bother that cat." Debbie said, "Well, Nicky doesn't like eggs anyway." Oh, Mog, goodness me. Mog looked through her cat flap. It was raining in the garden. Mog thought, perhaps the sun is shining in the street. When the milkman came, she ran out and the milkman shut the door. The sun was not shining in the street after all. It was raining. A big dog came down the street. Mog ran. The dog ran too. Oh, no, getting chased by a big dog. Mog ran right around the house and the dog ran after her. She climbed over the fence. She ran through the garden and jumped up outside the kitchen window. She meowed a very big meow, very sudden and very loud. Whoops, oh dear, made Mrs. Thomas jump. Mrs. Thomas said, "Oh, bother that cat." And Debbie said, "It wasn't her fault." Oh dear, peas all over the floor. Mog was very sleepy. She found a nice, warm, soft place and went to sleep. She had a lovely dream. She dreamed she had wings. She could fly everywhere. She could fly faster than the birds, even quite big birds. Suddenly, she woke up. Look, she'd been sleeping on Mrs. Thomas's hat. Mrs. Thomas said, "Bother that cat." Debbie said, "I think you look nicer without a hat." Debbie gave Mog her supper and Mog ate it all up. And then Debbie and Nicky went to bed. Mog had a rest too, but Mr. Thomas wanted to see the telly. Mr. Thomas said, "Bother that cat." His tail's hanging down. Mog thought, "Nobody likes me." And then she thought, "Debbie likes me." Debbie's door was open. Debbie's bed was warm. Her hair was soft like kitten fur. Mog forgot that Debbie was not a kitten. Look, he's licking her. Debbie had a dream. It was a bad dream. It was a bad dream about a tiger. The tiger wanted to eat Debbie. It was licking her hair. Debbie shouted. Mog jumped. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas said, "Bother, bother, bother that cat." Debbie said nothing. She was still crying because of the bad dream. Look, but Mog running away with all that shouting. Mog ran out of the room and right through the house and out of her cat flap. She was very sad. The garden was dark. The house was dark too. Mog sat in the dark and thought dark thoughts. She thought, "Nobody likes me. They've all gone to bed. There's no one to let me in. And they haven't even given me my supper." They did, didn't they? Debbie fed her earlier. Then she noticed something. The house was not quite dark. There was a little light moving about. She looked through the window and saw a man in the kitchen. Who's that? Mog thought, "Ooh, perhaps that man will let me in. Perhaps he'll give me my supper." She meowed her biggest meow, very sudden and very, very loud. The man was surprised. He dropped his bag. It made a big noise and everyone in the house woke up. Mr. Thomas ran down to the kitchen and shouted, "A burglar!" The burglar said, "Bother that cat." Mrs. Thomas telephoned the police. Debbie let Mog in and Nicky hugged her. A policeman came and they told him what had happened. The policeman looked at Mog and he said, "What a remarkable cat. I've seen watched dogs, but never a watched cat. She'll get a medal." Debbie said, "I think she'd rather have an egg." I love that they've given the burglar a cup of tea as well, look. Mog had a medal. She also had an egg for breakfast. She also had an egg every day for breakfast, not just one, every day. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas told all their friends about her and they said, "Mog is really remarkable." And they never, or almost never, said, "Bother that cat." Oh, she looks very proud. Can you read that on her necklace, on her medal? It says, "To Mog for bravery." Scaring off the burglar. There, Mog the Forgetful Cat by Judith Kerr. It's funny at night time, isn't it? Actually, now at bedtime, it's still a little bit light sometimes. But if you look out of your window when it's just beginning to go dark, see what you can see. The world looks very different in the evening time and at night time. Look out the window. Maybe you can see the moon, or maybe you can see the stars. Have a good look. Have a listen. See what you can hear. You might hear a cat, like Mog. See you next time. Bye-bye.